2 university students arrested by officers attached to the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission EACC are set to be arraigned today for impersonification, extortion and fraud. Tobias Singila Wekesa and Sharon Anjala Anyango were arrested at the National Government Constituency Development Fund office in Bungoma County after the pair had reportedly staged a fake raid claiming to be on official duty investigating NGCDF projects. They allegedly demanded bribes from the officials, threatening to sanction them if they failed to comply. According to EACC, Wekesa had been posing as the director of EACC Kakamega County, an inexistent position, while Anyango claimed to be the director of EACC Nairobi. Both are believed to be university students exploiting their false titles to manipulate and intimidate their victims. The EACC has urged members of the public to remain vigilant and report any suspicious activities involving individuals claiming to be anti-corruption officers. The Commission reaffirmed its commitment to rooting out corruption and protecting citizens from fraudulent schemes under its campaign. And Prime Cabinet Secretary Musalia Mudavadi will leave for Cairo, Egypt for the signing of bilateral agreements between Kenya and the North African country. Mudavadi, who is also the Foreign and Diaspora Affairs Cabinet Secretary, noted that Kenya and Egypt have enjoyed deep and lasting economic, diplomatic and political relationships for the decades and that Cairo visit seeks to strengthen it. The deep bilateral agreements come less than a year after Mudavadi and his Egyptian counterpart Sameh Shukri signed 4 MOUs on trade and investments, agriculture, tourism, energy and infrastructure development. He noted that the MOUs are in the field of political consultations, diplomatic training, investment facilitation, cooperation in ports, youth higher education, gender equality and women empowerment.
Pearl Newsbeat.
Deputy President Professor Kithure Kindiki has urged governors to improve revenue collection by digitizing systems and addressing financial leakages to promote self-dependence. While acknowledging counties' progress in boosting the revenue sources, Kindiki emphasized that this approach is essential for sustainable growth and managing mounting bills. Speaking at the 26th ordinary session of the Intergovernmental Budget and Economic Council at his official residence, Kindiki highlighted the need for frequent consultations to address emerging issues.
When you have different institutions, different offices, it is not for us to have differences of opinion on a matter. What is not normal is to attack each other or to be confrontational and to bring dispute to any of the offices that are established by our constitution. And therefore, I know we have some differences of opinion around the issue of education support by county governments, which is part of today's agenda. And I'm sure will find some consensus around the issue one way or the other.
Pearl Newsbeat.
At the same time, the former Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua has pledged to unite Kenyans, or rather with Kenyans, in challenging former President Ruto's, or rather the President William Ruto's government, aiming to make his re-election in the 2027 general election unlikely. Gachagua, vocal critic to the administration since his impeachment last October, joined opposition leaders Kalonzo Musyoka and Eugene Wamalwa during the unveiling of the New Democratic Action Party headquarters in Nairobi. This has urged Kenyans to rise up against the president, accusing him of being intolerant and dictatorial, particularly in response to his opposition to policies such as unpopular tax hikes.
And let us not approach this election with a predetermined mindset that lazima ikuwe ni mimi ama ni mimi. Wacha tuseme tuko na kibarua ya kungoa hii jamaa. That is the first objective. Let us consolidate our votes, consolidate. Uzuri, payslip holders are 3 million. Na every payslip holder has a minimum influence of 2 people. Those are 9 million people who have a personal issue with William Ruto. Sasa, ongeza Gen Z. Maneno inaisha.
Meanwhile, Wiper Party leader Kalonzo Musyoka has raised concerns over the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission advertising tenders for goods and services without a substantive commission in place. Musyoka alleged that the IEBC CEO Marjan Hussein Marjan was receiving instructions from former IEBC Commissioner Boya Molu, now chairman of the Public Service Commission. Musyoka warned that the opposition coalition will block critical approvals by the Marjan-led secretariat until a substantive electoral body is in place.
I advise that we do not give William Ruto this excuse to delay formation of IEBC. And I realized because Wiper was unfairly blamed for delaying the process. Now the truth is known. It was not us. It was William Ruto through instructions given to a judge in Kiambu who has vacated our own situation, dismissed the application, therefore paving the way for the selection panel to be put in place. As of today, therefore, the whole thing about the categorization of those leaders, of those members of IEBC selection panel are based on that structure.
Pearl Newsbeat.
And the US and Colombia have averted a potential trade war after Colombia agreed to allow US military planes carrying deported migrants to land in the country. The dispute arose when President Gustavo Petro barred 2 US military flights carrying deported Colombians from landing. In response, the US threatened to impose tariffs on Colombian exports. President Petro initially warned of retaliatory tariffs on US goods, but an agreement was later reached. The White House announced that Colombia will now accept migrants, including those arriving on US military flights, without restrictions.
Pearl Radio, the home of fresh and classic hits.